So we're going to resume Genesis chapter 2. Yeah, what verse did you have? I believe it was verse 16. So I'll read from verse 16. This is Genesis 14.
15 and 15 verses.
Right.
Read the 14 again.
Right.
Read the 14 again. And last week I cursed y'all out a little bit. Not all of y'all, not the ones. Look, more hands should go up. Somebody asks you a question, more hands should go up. That's why you gotta go. That's why we're going through these breakdowns over and over and over again. Now I did one video and I put it out there. If anybody wants to do Daniel 8 and do it, I was at the point of go ahead and do it, you know, but the day I wound up. And that's why I'm about it. When I watched the whole video, I ain't broke it down perfectly. You know?
Alright, so this is back in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, and the name of the third river is Hiddekel, that is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria, and the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord Yahweh, the power, took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and keep it.
And that man was talking about the sons of God. That lineage was going to come down through that specific man, right? Because like I said before, there were many Adams at those times. But the Lord chose a special Adam to be in a special place because God is those going to be the lineage of that bloodline going to come through Adam.
What's meant by to dress it and to keep it? Basically, he was the governor back then. He basically governed that portion. Right? It says, and the Lord Yahweh, the power, commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Yeah, thou shalt surely die, because you're going the way of the other nations. Because the Lord gave us what? The Lord gave Adam the breath of life. What's that breath of life? The breath of life is the Lord's statutes and commandments, which gives you that life. So going any other way is death. That's why I said, what? Read that again?
It says verse 16, no, verse 17, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
You shall surely die. Because by the tree of good and evil leads to what? Going against the Lord, that go against the Lord.
This is Romans 6.
Are we going to deal with a tree in the kingdom of heaven?
Yeah.
Are we going to deal with a tree in the kingdom of heaven?
Yeah. Yes.
Where is it?
In the book of Revelation.
Right, so I see them. Go ahead, hit that too.
Yeah.
Against Revelation, because those healing the nation.
Because the tree is always here. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And what's the other tree? Tree of life.
Yeah.
Right? So the both trees are here.
Yeah.
The Lord said, choose to keep this day. That's life or death. Right?
This is Revelation 22. Let's start at verse 1. It says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb.
Which is speaking about the heavens.
Yep. In the midst of the street.
Because the throne of the Most High is the heavens, right? The heavens is my throne and the earth is my footstool.
In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded.
What's the street? Read it again, please.
It says, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month.
So the street is what? What's the street? On either side of the river is also the street. Read again. Read.
In the midst
where it says
of
river and street. Same thing.
In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river,
The street and the river is the same thing. A street is something, you know, the street of water is the same thing. Street and river is the same thing. So what is it talking about? What does it mean by the street or the water, the river? Nope.
Still talking about it.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Heavens.
Nope. Close.
I was going to say
Close
this.
with an F.
Fir-
The firmament.
Yeah, I was going to say
It's on either side of the river. You got the firmament, right?
Oh, right.
When Esau got to go outside of the firmament, you got to find that hole in the firmament. What is it you go into the light? If it doesn't hit that hole, it burns the ship up. That's why they got to tie it. Van Allen belt. You got the firmament, you got outer heaven, which is space, you got inner heaven, which is the clouds. All right? On either street of it. On this side of the street, we're on this side of the street. And on the other side of the street is where it takes itself. The trees are not actual trees. They're vibrations. You know?
Yeah, that's where you have the sun, moon, stars. They're all set up in constellations. So, you have the right side or you have the left side.
There's two sides of it. Because was there not something said about the Most High? Read what verse is that?
Verse 2.
Verse 2, read 1 again. Read from 1.
Revelation 22, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal.
What's the pure river of water of life? What's the river of the water of life? Truth. Read again.
It says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal.
What was the word? Read again. He showed me what?
He showed me a pure river of water.
A river. Then we said what river was, so what is it talking about?
The heavens.
It's talking about the street, the ozone. All right? Exactly.
Because this is after the destruction, so the missiles are going to help to purify everything. These are polluted everything.
Right, again, Revelation 22, verse 1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal.
The ozone layer, you look up, you can't see the ozone layer. It's pure crystal.
And I saw as you were seeing last week with fire, then I got victory over the beast, over his one, and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass, having all the
We're going to be above the firmament, out in space, watching Psalm 91, watching the wicked burned up.
Yeah. So that sea of glass is the fire. What's the fire going to do? Purify it. So now John said he saw it clear as crystal. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, he said he set up, Genesis 1 set up the firmament to separate the waters from the water.
Yeah. And Esau done polluted the firmament. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Revelation 22 and verse 2. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb shall be in it. His servants shall serve him.
Hold up. The throne of the Most High and the sun will be in, right? How the hell is Esau going to gather up and take it down?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lahab is a magnet.
Back in Genesis.
That's it. Back to Genesis.
Back in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 17. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thou shalt surely die. You know it's sin. The wages of sin is death. Romans 6.
I got a quick precept. It's Deuteronomy 7 and 1. When the Lord thy power shall bring thee into the land where thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto thy sons, nor his sons unto thy daughters. Thou shalt, it says, thou shalt take unto thy sons, for they will turn away thy sons from following me, that they may, it says, that they may serve of the gods, right? So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, just like as Adam, of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly, right? Because as soon as he took from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, sin came into the world, death came into the world, right? And
got something, got a quick reset. Go, you mentioned the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 17, King Solomon. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So King Solomon gave his heart to know wisdom, which is not the tree of knowledge of good, and to know madness and folly, which is evil. So there was no king wiser than King Solomon. And he perceived that all of it was vexation and vanity. So we wasn't supposed to eat of that tree because it's no benefit. There's no benefit to it.
Scripture say we're going to be God. So to be a true God, you got to know both sides. You can't just know one side. You got to know both sides. So that's what this is, the education and like High Priest Yaquab used to say, we had to learn wickedness in order to appreciate righteousness, be a real God.
That's right.
This is 1 Kings 11 and 2. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Going back to the brothers, fall after the ways of the other nations, conform to their ways.
Genesis 2, verse 18. It says, and the Lord Yahweh, the power, said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an help for him. And out of the ground, the Lord Yahweh, the power, formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would do them.
Yeah, this already happened, right? Genesis, first chapter. Remember, he created the fowls, the beasts, everything came out of the waters. So he didn't just create new creatures, it was already created. But then Adam, he told Adam to basically have dominion over these things and to name them.
It says, and whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him.
Read that again.
And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl.
So let's deal with when Adam gave names to all cattle. Give me some feedback on that. Adam gave the name. I'm dealing with the word cattle.
So Adam knew the Hebrew language.
Okay.
So he had to name them in the Hebrew. And cattle comes from a lot.
The first letter
From the character
alphabet.
of the alphabet.
When you went to school, what do you learn in the first kindergarten, first grade? You learned Hebrew. The first language that you learned was Hebrew, right? A for apple. How do the sound for A is what? The sound for B is ba. The sound for C is ka. That was Hebrew right there. The first letter, turn it around to the side, that's your ah. I did a video on it. not too many people watched it. And that was a great video because you know what? It shows you that really every outfit goes back to the Hebrew. What they call the Hebrew. That's one, but that's what we call it, right? Every outfit. Because when you look at the ancient Hebrew, it looks primitive. It looks it looks primitive. But that's the first language right there. Not no fucking hieroglyph. The hieroglyph, when you look at a hieroglyph, it's too complicated. When the alphabet was put together, the Allah, Bayat, Amal, God, ABC, started up. Jacob is the father of all things, yeah? And when them Jake said, oh, the hieroglyph, no. It was the Hebrew.
Yeah, it's true. All the languages come back.
Esau will tell you that. Like I said, go to Google.
That's how Babylon.
Right, go put in the alphabet. They'll tell you the alphabet is a Hebrew word for Allah, Bayat. Allah. Allah meaning cattle. Allah is cattle. Bayat is house.
How about something real quick? This is the Phoenician alphabet.
Right, the Phoenicians, that's what we speak. Who are the Phoenicians? The Canaanites. The Canaanites, the actual so-called Hamitic Canaanites knew Hebrew because they stayed in that region. The ones that got different languages were the ones that went out further out. You know?
Should we go back a little bit?
Founded the language.
It's glaring, it ain't gonna pick
The
it
book
up.
of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
Oh, there you go, yep. Bingo.
Precept that.
Back in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 21. And the Lord Yahweh, the power caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs.
So the churches teaches that Adam literally went to sleep. And the Most High opened up his body, took his rib, and a woman was created out of his rib. Look up the word sleep. Don't make no sense.
2 Samuel 19 and 12.
Sleep.
Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones, and my flesh.
Okay, he jumped the gun, right? We're gonna go into that. Just hold that. It says that later on. Somebody look up sleep in blue letter.
That means a trance.
Blue letter.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Yeah.
There's the word sleep, deep sleep. And the Hebrew is Zaradama, which is deep sleep trance. The word trance meaning a half-conscious state characterized by an absence of response to external stimulants.
So he wasn't put under anesthesia, right? Put into sleep to take a rib out of his body. He was in a trance, right? Read it again out.
So he wasn't aware what the Most High was about to do. The Most High knew how he felt. Not good that man should go alone. So the Most High said, I'm going to give him that help. But Adam was in a trance. He didn't know the Most High was about to do that. The Most High, being the Most High, was aware that man shouldn't go alone. So he was going to prepare when he fought. So what the hell,
And I liken that to the Isaac and Rebecca getting together.
Right.
It was an arranged marriage. Isaac never saw Rebecca. Rebecca never saw Isaac. I mean, they were relatives. They probably saw each other from a distance. Because when she saw Isaac, she said, "Who's that?" He said, "That's my master, right?" Now, the way you got a woman was your father set you up. He knew what you like. That's my son. I know what you like. Like a fat ass, like a tall, certainly like this hair, that, the braids, or whatever. So when you got the woman, you didn't know that was going to be your wife for the rest of your life. Yeah. But when she grows up, right? There wasn't no, well, let's get to know each other. Ain't no getting to know each other. Scripture said, and he knew her. That means he had sex. How do you get to know a woman? By having sex with a woman first. You have sex with her, you have sex with her first, then you get to Noah. But this society is backwards. So that's what happened with by the way, was there only one Adam at that time? No. So who was Eve? She was a relative and another Adam. All right?
Oh, men and how to go male and female who make them. Right. They call them Adam.
Genesis 5.
Churches don't know that, man. Why you think they pull out a gun on the IUI?
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? It was beautiful that they got one guy got bit, the other guy started slapping him up. Yeah. I said, and you know, me, I did the video. I said, I'm gone. It's gone. What's the scripture saying, Matthew 7? Give not that which is holy unto the dog. What does the dog do when it gets mad? It bites you. You should have expected to bite. He bit me. Fuck when you expected to
well, wait a minute. DMX said that before he passed away.
Yeah.
Dogs shake, dogs bite. No, ain't that what DMX said? Yeah.
Got what he mean with dog so his teeth.
Go ahead.
Now you mentioned them being relatives. This is 2 Samuel 19:12. Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh.
That's it. The Bible, most of the Bible, the reason why Esau can't get this Bible, because it's written in a poetic manner. We are poetic people, right? Yep. Even among us, Israel, right? If I say to you, what you feel like eating? And I say, Moed. Somebody else will tell us Moed. We know there's so-called Chinese food, right? If I say we're going to get some imam, I feel like some imam. Nobody else knows what we're talking about. Everything that we do is poetic. And that's how the scriptures do. What did Samson say when he found out that the Philistines were going to his woman, getting information out of her? Yep. What did he say? He said, how did he say? Yeah, who's been plowing with my heifer? What does it literally mean to plow with your heifer? A heifer is a cow that you plow, right, a woman cow, baby woman cow. You put a yoke on it and plow with it. He wasn't talking about that, but the Esau, he's thinking about a plow and a heifer, you know? He was talking about, he called his woman a heifer. Down south, they call that heifer.
Yeah,
they call it heifer down south. So everything that we do is info. That's why Esau can't do it. Because Esau's looking at everything literal. Oh, but it says this. Well, that's why vocab can't get this shit.
He's not him.
He's not him.
Esau ain't him.
And it says it's him to be a square. It ain't him to be a square.
That's how rap is so influential amongst states, because you listen to the words, and the word, once you get it, it makes you even like the song you like, oh, that the dick is into words. So it makes sense that the scriptures in our book are all the words that we
Hosea 12, verse 10. I have also spoken my prophets. I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
So let's go, come on, let's go.
Back to Genesis 2 and verse.
Let's go, Chan.
Verse 18.
Yeah, let's go, champ. Let's him talk.
It says,
Esau be thinking of a champ. What boxing match then was he in? Did he ever won a title? Esau just said that.
it says, verse 18, and the Lord Yahweh, the power said, it is not good for man, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a help for him. And out of the ground the Lord Yahweh, the power, formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto verse 21. Genesis 2 verse 21. And the Lord Yahweh, the power, caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
You got the precept for the rib?
I got the word rib. This is in the Hebrew tazalai, which is side, rib, knee, rib of hill, ridge, center, rib of man, side chambers, or cells of temple structure.
So this came from like the elder said, one of Adam's family members. It's from one of Adam's side, right?
Yeah. Genesis 29 and verse 15. It says, and Laban said to him, surely thou art my bone and my flesh, and he abode with him the space of a month.
Yeah, thou art my bone and my flesh. What does that mean? He was from the side of Jacob. He was a relative to Jacob.
Right.
Right?
If I'm not mistaken, is it on Aram? When you go back when, you know, they kept going back to find a wife. Like, well, when Jacob had to find a wife, he had to go to Padan Aram with Isaac, because that's where they were always somewhat related.
Yeah, Padan. That's why the scripture says, abhor not an Edomite, but
Right.
the word there should be Syrian.
Syrian.
Because that's where their kinfolk came from. So it all lines up. And slang in the old, and back in the day, when I was young, I don't know what y'all call a woman now. We used to call them rib. Y'all relate to that. That's what we used to call them back in the day. Generation that came after me called them, this is my earth. Eve translates into the word earth, right? Red bone. Red bone meaning like a light caramel woman with a nice, you know. All you got to do is just my red bone. You're already thinking of a woman that looks good, you know? Right, brother, all right.
Real quick, 2 Samuel 5:1. Then came all the tribes of Israel to David, unto Hebron, and spake, saying, Behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh. Man.
Showing you that bone and flesh is talking about your kinsman.
That's right.
Back in Genesis 2, at verse 22. And the rib which the Lord Yahweh had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
Yeah, that word woman means servant. That was their job in the first place.
And it said maybe a woman. In other words, this woman was specifically groomed for Adam.
Yeah, to serve him.
Right.
His own personal servant. Give me an example of that in the movies.
Come to America.
Walk like a dog. A big dog. How about one leg? And they said, what kind of food you like?
Whatever you like.
What kind of music you like?
And he's looking at the camera like something's wrong with this woman.
Right.
Eddie Murphy, he did his ass whooped. Oh, he's a Benjamin. No, Apostle John, he's a West Indian, not a Benjamin. Yeah, well, he knows Jack, he be watching. Yeah. All of them be watching. Yeah, but for real though.
Star David, he was singing like he's an Israelite or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he knows. He's a so-called Jamaican. What celebrity athlete that don't know about the Israelites? Everybody watch YouTube, bro. Everybody. Go ahead.
Right, 2 more verses. Genesis 2, verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Yeah, where did they get that from if they was the only people on earth? So they both, Adam had parents, Eve had parents.
And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Look at that word, naked.
There should be precepts. Precept. Going with that precept. Where's the precept? What's it? It said Exodus 32 and 25.
Sorry, I didn't know.
All the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. So that's when they built the multi-time, the golden time. So that's pretty much like they were singing against the Heavenly Father.
So was Adam and Eve actually naked?
No,
of course not.
Absolutely not.
Now the church will tell you that they were actually naked.
Right.
They put on leaves.
26. It said the principal things for the whole life of men, right, are water, fire, iron, salt, flour, wheat, honey, milk, the blood of grape, and oil and clothing. That's a principal thing. That's what man needs in general. So they had clothes.
Right.
They couldn't be out there naked because that's a sin, but that's a sin from the Most High. Because even the priest couldn't had to have a certain type of garments to the front of the Lord. So everybody had clothing back then.
Long garments.
Long garments were covering themselves. So,
This is John chapter 15, verse 22. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not sinned, but now they have no cloak for their sin.
There's another precept that I'm thinking about. It's in the New Testament. Another precept dealing with the subject of naked.
oh, Revelation.
Revelation, bring it out.
16.
Somebody had put it on the comment.
16 and 15?
Yeah, Revelation 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So, not talking about actual garments, it's talking about sin. You know?
Not having the shoe. Not having the shoe. Being sinning against the Most High.
And like the Kemetic jakes, you know, so that in them, they're naked.
naked.
And they're going to be ashamed of that day, man. The ones that know these churches, they all naked. You know?
Not on the wedding garment.
This is Revelation 3:17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
Psalms 132 and 9.
You don't have on the wedding garments, which is the
How do you?
righteousness of the Most
Yeah,
High.
that one.
Right? So it's
This is what you got? This is Job 29 verse 14. It said, I put on righteousness and clothes. My judgment is a robe and a diadem.
That's the same
Righteousness
precept.
as a clothing.
Then Psalms 132 and 9. Let thy priest be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saint shout for joy.
Yeah, the scripture say,
Done.
Job, remember high priest Aaron years ago, he said, if I cover my sin like Adam,
Yeah, yep.
Isaiah 47, 1 to 3. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. So thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover thy thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. And this is the white man's system. Taught the world that they were righteous, they love everybody, and not racist. But now everything's coming out. Now Jake, even the Uncle Tom's waking up. They get mad at the police. They want their reparations and all that stuff, man. So Jamaica, they don't want the Queen to come back. They say, we don't want you to come back, we want you to pay us some money. So Jake is waking up. The truth shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the back. Judah shall be in the midst of his enemies.
Isaiah 52 verse 1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, which represents the truth. O Jerusalem, the holy city, that's us as believers. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Obviously, when he said us, truth. We come out here teaching the people.
This is Romans 5:18. Therefore, as by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation. That's talking about Adam, right? It says, even so, by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto the justification of life. Because when you go to 1 Corinthians 15, it says what? The first Adam was made earth, that came from the earth. The second Adam came from the heaven. He was made from heaven, right? Roughly paraphrase. We all know that to be Yahushua, right? It says, for as by one man's disobedience, many were made sinners. So by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Moreover, the law entered that the offense might abound. But where sin abound, grace did much more abound. So that's how they became different, because they were equal. They didn't have, they knew that the Lord statutes and commandments, right? And it became evil, right? So moreover, the law entered that the offense might abound, but where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. That as sin hath reigned unto death, right? Even so might grace reign through the righteousness unto eternal life by Yahweh Shai Mashiach our Lord. Because while we're going to have that eternal life, we're going to have the law statutes and commandments in us. We can make perfect.
Revelation 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that cometh. I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
You were a little late. We already read that. That's all right. Spirit Wayne, you come out to Exodus chapter 30. Read it fast.
Verse 25. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, but Aaron had made them naked unto their shame,
Yeah, I came out.
Genesis 1 and 25, it says, and they both were naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 6. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments.
When a newborn baby is 1 year old and is walking around naked, it's not ashamed. That's why you say, ooh, it's not ashamed, because it doesn't know anything. When it grows, it knows that, these women that walk around like today. See a woman, brother, that spot that we had, brother, you want to get women, brother. So I'll be the woman who's going to bring it to us. Hey, woman, as you can see, they're not ashamed, man. But they know the shit going on. Jack with the download thing, they're going to be in the mode. It's not right, so they're doing on the download. Esau, he does it open, wide open.
I got some. 1 Timothy 2 and 9. It says, and like manner also that the woman adorn themselves in modest apparel, change face and some rarity, not with broidered braid, or gold, or furs, or coats in the waist, as a physical apparel. Where it says, but which becoming woman, professing godliness with good works. Talking about the works. They'll adorn themselves with righteous apparel, the word. But the physical apparel actually makes it look attractive, but the spiritual apparel that's just supposed to adorn with something.
Like,
before I bring this out, when you watch those like cartoons, like Daffy Feathers taking off, you see it cover itself up, and he's
That's Esau. Yeah, Esau, Daffy stuck, he's going to get his feathers taken off. And his beak turned around backwards. That's Esau, man.
So real quick, it's kind of on topic. It's
Speak loud. I can't hear you.
The priestly garment. It's Exodus 28:42. It says, thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness. When the Lord even unto the thighs.
No, that's literal.
That's literal.
That's literal.
Right.
The scripture that we read was all spiritual.
Right. So they wasn't going to be walking around but naked. They had to have clothes on. The priest had to have clothes on. That's the beginning. Esau puts a whole different spin on it. So the priest had to have extra garments on to cover the nakedness, sort of add to it.
Isaiah 61 and 10.
Back to that.
I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my power, for he hath clothed me with the garment of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness.
message.
As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels.
Right.
Go ahead, one more. So Ezekiel 16 and 8. When I passed by thee, looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord power, and thou becamest mine. What's that precept? I can't think of it, but I just covered thy skirts. Did you read that? Did you read that part? We read it. We read that whole thing. Okay, good. So Esau is naked right now.
Yep.
You know?
Being exposed.
Let's go back.
This is Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent was more subtle subtile than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh had made.
Revelation 20.
Revelation 20.
This is Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
All right, so this Satan, all the way back to Genesis, is the devil.
And cast him into the...
No, that was it. I just wanted to say in devil part.
And then the any beast is talking about the other nations.
Right.
So it says, more subtile than any beast of the field which the Lord Power had made, and he said unto the woman, yea, had the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, ye may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
There's a reason why the serpent went to Eve first, because she's the weaker vessel. She's easier to manipulate, to deceive than Adam was, because Adam would have already shut that down. Most High said, don't eat this. But he went to the woman because she's easy to trick.
It says, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Most High had said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods.
This is 2 Timothy 2, verse 13. It says, and Adam was first born, and Eve, and Edom was and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
Guys, precept. This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 31. It says, therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices.
It shows you it's not talking about actual fruit. The fruit is payment of your works.
Where do they get apples?
One more, and we're going back. This is almost 7 o'clock. Hosea 10 and 13. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 24. Nevertheless, with the envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side will find it.
Back in Genesis 3 and 5. The Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Showing you that the woman, right, she broke down a man. She probably did, I got this from the book of car, what Delilah did to Samson. She kept bringing it up. Yo, eat of the tree, eat of the knowledge. Let's go deal with the other nation. Right? She kept bringing it up. And Adam
Something else.
Right.
Camel toe.
The Virginia.
Only the camel toe. If I can make a point, the word of Delilah goes back to the Hebrew Delilah, which was evil.
You read that part, knowing good and evil. That shows you right there. They took on the knowledge of evil.
Since you're a master of words, what does Russian mean?
Oh.
That's the Hebrew word.
Get that, you good.
Where'd you get that? You know what? I kind of knew it, Russian. Now Russia, and the Hebrew, there's two Hebrew words, compound words that make up the name Russian. What does Russian in Hebrew? What is Russian in Hebrew? Ra'ash. right?
Fine.
What is Shah and Prince? So when you go to Ezekiel 38, verse, it says God can make the chief prince. Rush also means chief or head. So that word Russian in the actual Hebrew word shows you that the Russian is actually from Hebrew, and they call that place chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Wow. And so it's good to get into these words.
Wait a minute. What was the group that told you to get into your words?
Great Millstone.
Oh no, I'm saying what was the group that told you to get into your words?
And you.
Yeah. You told you to get in your words.
Brazil, the place Brazil, what does Brazil mean? What word does that go back to?
Iron.
But how do you say it in Hebrew? Right. Now when you go to Google and you play with that word, and it'll tell you when Esau came over this side of the world, they call that place Brazil because of the iron in Brazil. Yeah. So
Norman.
That's more further proof that the Israelites came over here to the other side of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
When you have something called Norman Omen, name prediction. You know? All right. Shalom to you, man.
And one thing that I picked up was, and one thing that when I was down with that look, he said, that Congo, don't miss. He said, one Jerusalem, don't mean the mountain. He said, everybody voted, they was already free. But one thing that made me was a model of statue. No. He said, that don't mean, he said, if you can build mountains, we ain't free to work. He said, that don't mean, if we can build the greatest of our will, there's no wrong. He said, what you can do, that don't mean, fair, not fair. What he said, what was it that was it? Again, from John Beck, I don't know.
Oh, well, he's only saying
See you in the church.
I heard John the Baptist.
All right, brother. I heard Jerusalem. Definitely heard John the Baptist.
I got a quick preset to go with what you mentioned about Brazil, right? Which in the Hebrew is Barazal, which means iron, right? Now this is Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 24. Because of course we know that the Brazilians are of the tribe of Asher. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Which Asher is Venezuela, Brazil, Colombia. Said, thy shoes shall be iron and brass. Barazal means iron.
Barazal.
Message.
Brazil. Oh, those men are tough too. Yeah, the Brazilian fighters.
Judite, Benjamin.
Yeah, they're pretty tough, man. Those men down there.
Very serious. So where we at?
Genesis 3 and 7. It says, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked.
What does that mean? They knew they were naked.
They knew that they were sinned.
They knew that they sinned because they took on the knowledge of evil. You take on the knowledge of evil, you're going to sin.
Transgress.
The Apostle Paul said it. He said, I've not known sin except what? Yeah. He said, I've not known sin except the law said, thou shalt not covet.
Right.
So how do you know sin? Transgression of the law. So that's what Eve did. She transgressed the law. Then she brought in Adam with her to transgress the law. They knew they sinned. But before that, they didn't know sin. All they knew was good. So that's the proof right there. They ain't talking about no goddamn apple.
They realized.
That's why we call you guys the wacky tacky Christians, man. That's why we call you the wacky tacky Christians.
Yeah, because you know they knew the ways of righteousness. But when they sinned, it hit them. Like, oh snap! Like, man, we just broke this law. So now we understand.
10 minutes.
The law. But God said, don't do this, don't do that.
That was a decree not to dove into that. And when he disobeyed, that's when he realized, hold up, we wasn't supposed to be learning this stuff. That's when he realized they went off.
But then we had to go off because the scripture said the creature was made subject to vanity. Not willingly, but you know. So we had to learn the other side. We had to.
Yeah. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all died.
Got a precept. 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 11. Because of their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statute, then was the decree that now is done. So he, by learning evil, he transgressed the statute.
Yeah, then he put us in these everlasting chains. Fucked up bodies.
Pieces of shit. Station wagon temples.
We're longing to be delivered out of this. The first thing Yahushua going to do when he comes back is give us that body. Give me that new body! You know? What verse we in?
7. Back in Genesis 3:7, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were...
We're going to go to 10 and read 10 and go.
It says, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
What is that talking about? What is that talking about?
Three scholars out there.
That's it. That's it. Is there a precept on that? Ezekiel what? 31. 31. Bring it out. What we got? You got it?
The aprons?
Yeah.
Zephaniah 1 and 8. And it's a Zephaniah 1 and 8, right? And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I'll punish the princes and the kings, children, and all such are clothed with strange apparel.
That's good. I hit right now. What was the other one? Ezekiel, yeah.
Right. Ezekiel 31, I'll go to the point, verse 5. It says, therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field.
Talking about Adam.
And his boughs were multiplied, and his branches...
Boughs meaning branches. Go ahead.
And his branches became long because of the multitude of waters in the shop. Verse 8, it says, the cedars in the garden of the Most High could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of the Most High was like unto him in his beauty.
So when they put fig leaves, aprons on, they were trying to dress like, it represents now. You got Jakes that think they're African, they dress the African garb, they develop an African accent. They lived in the South all their life. You see them Jakes and Arabs and Jakes and Muslim Jakes? They ain't never been nowhere else. And they got a fucking Arab accent, man. Born in Brooklyn. Born in Brooklyn.
I got this.
Instead of Abraham, they say Ibrahim.
Isaiah 61 and 3. So point unto them that... Oh, sorry.
Muslim, Philly, Jersey. You can't wake them niggas up.
Or like Denzel in the movie X, when he got all into it.
I got a precept for you, Apostle.
Newark. Yeah. It's like fucking Mecca, man.
Yeah. Denzel got all into it, man.
In that movie, they actually had to convert to Islam. They said you couldn't come in the country unless you convert to Islam. They converted to Islam. They left the country. Then they denied it. You know?
Isaiah 61 and 3. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified.
I got Isaiah chapter 14, verse 8. Yea, the fig trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fella is come up against us. And that's the trees. You know, Esau always been cutting down trees all these years.
Really, it's talking about the trees, but it's also talking about
the nations, the people.
Because the other the children waiting for the manifestation of the Son of God. So all these nations want this white man to go down and want us to rule. Huh?
Yeah. In the spirit, I'm sorry, so like in the spirit they want us to rule.
In the spirit. Huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Google fig leaf real fast, and it says it's an actual expression. It says the expression fig leaf is widely used figuratively to convey the covering up of an act or an object that is embarrassing or distasteful, with something innocuous in appearance, a metaphorical reference.
That's what Adam did.
Change apparel.
That ties into the
Greeks, they made them dress in the Greek fashion. They made them wear hats. You ain't supposed to be wearing no hats, man. I don't see none of y'all with a fitted, stick with the side, man. Baseball cap. Where you at? Go ahead.
That ties into the show you did, I forget what this week, but you went to, you had to look it up, the fig, cover the wings. That's like kind of the same thing, parabolic.
Exactly. Everything is, script, that's why Esau can't get these scriptures, man. It's written in hip talk, as Ariel would say, hip talk. It was written in code upon code, you know? Go ahead, we're going to close on that.
Job 31 and 33. If I cover my transgressions as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom.
Hey, that's a good one, man. Shimon likes, I like that one. Shimon saying, I like that one. I like that one. Anyway, we're going to close up. So what verse are we? 8 verse. Y'all got it. 8 verse. Genesis 3:8. Let's do this quick. See how this is building up your IQ? You know? Call you Shadu, Amaju, Rock. Yadu Matak and Smith.